This is your host, G.I. Wingnut. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. This is my 1952 and a Planned Deception series. And today we are doing episode 5, which in this case is the Buddhist World Publications. In episode 1, I covered the Theosophical Society. In episode 2, it was the Rosicrucians. In episode 3, the World Spiritual Council. In episode 4, Society of Friends. So those are in the playlist, if you haven't already noticed. But let's go ahead and get on into today's program. So, what is the Buddhist World Publications? According to the AI on my favorite browser, the Buddhist World Publications refer to various publishing entities that focus on disseminating Buddhist teachings, literature, and knowledge to a global audience. Here are some of the notable examples. I'm really not going to go into the list on these. Going to dig into them here in just a bit. But they specifically mention in this list Buddhist Publications Society and Shambhala Publications. And these publications aim to make Buddhist knowledge and wisdom accessible to a wide range of readers, from beginners to scholars. So let's take a quick look at the Buddhist Publications and Society information. Buddhist Publication Society is a publishing house with charitable status, 501c3, whose objective is to disseminate the teachings of the Gautama Buddha. It was founded in Kandy, Sri Lanka in 1958 by two Sri Lankan lay Buddhists, and I'm not going to try to pronounce those names, and European-born Buddhist monk. I'm not going to try to pronounce that name either. Originally conceived as a limited effort to publish small, affordable books on fundamental Buddhist topics, the society expanded in scope in response to the reception of their early publication efforts. Mission and focus: the BPS is dedicated to making known the teachings of Buddha. And there's more there. I'm not going to go into all that, because in this short history, it pretty much says the same thing. I'll try to put some show notes together to put in my community tab. I'll show you later for sure how to get there. But anyway, yeah, this was just some Buddhists getting together to throw some tiny little publications together, and that kind of got me to thinking about something else I saw, but it didn't really hit home until I got over here and I rolled down to Wheel Publications, Buddhist. Wheel Publications is a series of booklets covering a wide range of topics related to Theravada Buddhism. The series includes accurate annotation or annotated translations of the Buddha's discourses from the Pali Canon, and cover topics such as analytical philosophy of Abhidhamma and Buddhist reflections on the day's vital problems. The booklets are 4.8 inches by 7.2 inches and are reprinted by the Collected Wheel Publications series. Okay, so when I saw that size, I was like, oh my goodness. I flashed back to my childhood, because all of a sudden I remembered Chick Tracts. I don't know if you guys remember Chick Tracts. You know, those little bitty gospel tract things that were being used back in the day. Here, let me make that fit better. back in the day to pass around uh, gospel message. If you don't know about Jack Chick, go check him out. Or I've been considering doing some videos reading through the Chick tracks. I've got a full archive here. In fact, I ought to share up the link in my comments tab and let y'all have some fun with that. Anyway, moving on forward. So up next, we've got Bodhi Leaves, and it's just another publishing house. They've got Buddhist teachings here. Shambhala Publications is exactly what you would expect it to be. This is all part of that Buddhist World Publications. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick glance over some general Buddhist teachings. The Four Noble Truths Buddha talked about, the importance of understanding suffering, the causes of suffering, the possibility of liberation from the suffering, the possibility of nirvana, the path, the way to nirvana, the method, the dharma. Suffering comes about from causes and conditions that we have accumulated in the past due to our ignorance, attachment, and aversion. Both attachment and aversion stem from ignorance. Ignorance blinds us from seeing the truth. The term dharma is translated in Tibetan as cho. Cho meaning transformation or change. Changing ourselves from negative to positive. Changing our ignorance to insight and wisdom that brings us to cessation. However, in the Mahayana tradition, our ultimate goal is to achieve Buddhahood, the full enlightened state, so we can help infinite sentient beings. Good grief, I'm having trouble reading. When you genuinely think about the well-being of all sentient beings, selfish concern and its anxiety disappears. Eightfold Noble Path: right mindful, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right concentration. So the scriptural definition of right view reads, discerning the meaning of the Four Noble Truths through proper analytical and contemplative means. Oh, think about it like we show you how, and then think about it real long and hard. Okay, gotcha. I'm not going to read a whole lot into this because um, there's really not a whole lot to cover. It's pretty. Buddhism is relatively well known in a lot of corners, but I have run into a lot of individuals that will hit me with these, oh, well, you don't have the right view or the right understanding. Oh, you haven't listened to the apologetics that I sent you. Oh, you don't think like me. Oh, you don't think like us. Oh, you're wrong because. And yeah, so these are things that I see directly applied to those who might other their fellow human beings, dehumanize them for being different. Real quick, the Eightfold Path, Noble Eightfold Path is guru devotion. As you learn, your reliance, your trust in Buddhist teachings grows deeper and deeper. That is what we call awakening faith. Awakening faith. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if that has anything to do with reawakening an old faith? Oh, furthermore, blind faith can cause big problems as well. Okay, let me read that whole paragraph. As you learn, your reliance, your trust in the Buddha's teachings grows deeper and deeper. And that is what we call awakening faith. However, if faith is not supported by rational understanding and wisdom, that is called blind faith. That kind of faith can be shaken at any time by a good storyteller. Furthermore, blind faith can cause big problems as well. Huh. Okay, so pseudo archaeology pops into my head. Word of faith and prosperity gospel pops into my mind. Christian spiritualism, like John Alexander Dowie. Let's see, what are some of the other things that come to mind? Oh yeah, that great reawakening tour to awaken the masses. Um, but it that anyway, they kind of the way I'm seeing this is the blind faith part of it is that you have to go deeper and deeper to understand to overcome that blind faith. And that sounds a lot like what L. Ron Hubbard borrowed from Buddhism to wrap into Scientology, which we'll get into in 2 episodes. The ego. Today, Geshe La asked us why Buddha uh, Shakyamuni, who was at that time a bodhisattva, advanced student, took the hardship of an extreme ascetic practice and sat under the Bodhi tree for 6 years, eating only a grain of rice per day. Yeah, that's the question. Now, if you don't know what the extreme ascetic practice is, Buddhists and Hindi in India, the extreme ascetic monks, whenever they go out and do their public meditation, they'll actually take a little broom and sweep off their mat to make sure that there's no living creatures on there that they might harm. They watch where they go so they won't kill a bug, because if they kill something, that's going to reflect badly on their karma and degrade or diminish the quality of the next life, if it could, because they believe in reincarnation. Renunciation, the first step to Buddha's path is renunciation. This is why Buddha taught about the Four Noble Truths, including suffering and its causes. Achieving renunciation depends on meeting the true Dharma, the teaching of Buddha. So what happens after we die? Are we like a candle flame that ends when the wind blows it out? It is important to realize that our journey continues. That is the difference between a simple form and a sentient being. Your soul reincarnates into a different life depending on your karma. See, okay, that explains what I was just saying. That is the cycle of death and birth. We go into different realms based on the karma we create. That is why we need to renounce mundane pleasure, distractions, as much as we can and seek liberation for lasting happiness. Give up your television, give up your radio. It's all evil, it's of the devil, it's a distraction. Renounce all that stuff, and so much more. Cultivating bodhicitta. I probably butchered the pronunciation of that. We must look within ourselves to seek where we are cultivating bodhicitta. What areas do we need to pay more attention to? Where are we lacking in that process? Do not hesitate to ask questions. An important note when developing compassion, and you know what? Hang on real quick. Let's check that word out real quick. Enlightenment of mind. Okay.
Bodhicitta, bodhicitta, bodhicitta.
So back to the article. Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta. Buddha shows us the path, but sentient beings are the ones with which we practice our compassion and develop the precious bodhicitta. That's how we achieve this special experience and special realization. So, I guess the sentient beings in this situation might be something similar to what others might call angels or demons, spiritual entities, maybe. Maybe. What makes Buddha special? Today, Geshe La read from our essays, Why Buddha, Why Buddhism. All religions teach us about love and compassion, which is why we all have millions of followers. However, the objective of love and compassion, or as the object of love and compassion, Buddhism covers all sentient beings, from humans to animals, from beings in the water to tiny bugs in the ground and air. To really get Buddhism, it's essential to have a teacher who cares about your learning and growth, not just one who smiles and praises you. Okay. So that I can agree with that whole teacher fate portion there. I can agree with that. So, but not in the aspect of Buddhism. I'm just saying. Anyway, continuing. The smiles and praise make you feel good, but these won't take you to the quality of learning and transformation that you are aiming to achieve. It is important to have someone point out our mistakes so we can correct them. Yeah, that's important, but not when it comes to like mind control stuff. Wow. Geisha La said, quote, the essays from our senior students on why Buddha, why Buddhism are wonderful, describing overall qualities and legacies of the Buddha. Thank you. End quote. But among those qualities, one thing that makes Buddha extraordinary compared with all others is the teaching of interdependence, dependent organization, relativity, and the law of casualty. Casualty. Casuality. Just taking it easy? Is that what that means? Here, let's find out real quick. And I'm having trouble with my mouse. The law of causality, also known as the law of cause and effect, is the fundamental principle in philosophy and science that states that every material effect must have an adequate antecedent or simultaneous cause. Ah, okay. So that fits into the discussions that's been going on around the esoteric teachings behind the New Apostolic Reformation and the Americanized Church. So I'm not going to really get into the who is Buddha or the etiquette stuff. I've got a couple of other things that I want to take a look at real quick. I'm going to try to keep this one relatively short, but there are a couple of connections that I definitely want to make. So I think it was from that last page that I found this Universal Compassion Foundation community outreach program. And I wanted to kind of peruse through it a little bit. They got animal blessing, homeless food drive, another homeless food drive, guest speaking at Pride Middle School, homeless outreach. So, they hand out clothing to our homeless brothers and sisters in the Spokane area. So, they do community mission, and animal blessing. I've heard of people anointing their pets. And then they've got this healing and protection, sadhana or sadhana, in surreal times. This is Healing and Protection Sadhana from the Universal Compassion Foundation's website. During this time and age, we humans, out of greed and materialism, destroy nature, destroy all lives, and pollute the environment, including the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, and we do not stop there. Out of the power struggle in the name of defense, we've developed so many nuclear and chemical weapons, we could destroy the entire mother planet, endangering all lives. At such a time, Buddha's teachings of ethics and the wisdom of love and compassion for all beings may be the best savior. Okay, well, it's kind of hard to argue with this greed and materialism portion of it and the power struggle, out of defense. It's hard to argue with this portion of that paragraph. It's that last sentence, man, that kind of hangs me up a little bit. Therefore, don't get me wrong, I am not promoting the Buddhist traditions. I'm trying to explain this list that I'm working from over here from this Constance Cumby book, A Planned Deception. Trying to link all this together into 1952 with a bunch of other stuff that I know that happened. Anyway, therefore, given this surreal time, here is a special prayer practice. Okay, so that's what Sadhanam is. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not promoting it, but I did also find it rather interesting that the Buddhist Institute retreats says they've got stuff coming up, but then if you look, it's that they haven't done anything since 2022. But I also noticed that this retreat's in Spokane, Washington, and so I got thinking, okay, just curious, and I was not surprised by the answer. I doubt you will be either. But yes, the United Nations chief says Buddhism can help enlighten the world about pressing issues. And that was back in 2016. I'm not going to go into the article. I think the headline and what I've shared up so far pretty much gives what's going on. There is this little blurb here. Observing the day of Vesak, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon highlighted how the teachings of Buddhism can help the international community tackle pressing challenges, including mass population movements, violent conflicts, atrocious human rights abuses, and hateful rhetoric aimed at dividing communities. One of the other things that kind of jumped off the page for me here was it sounds like this could also be behind the environmentalist movement. Now, I could be wrong. It might only be one factor behind it or one of the inspirations. I can't be sure at the moment because there's a lot of these movements, but with this tie to the United Nations, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Anyway, I hope this has been informative. I tried to keep it relatively short on this one. I am going to go ahead and try to get my next video out. I don't know if I'll get it posted today or tomorrow, but I'll be covering that next item on the list, The Voice, with editor Joseph Busby. And then the episode after that's Scientology. And I'm going to try to keep that one short. I am. What I'll end up doing is probably making reference to a couple of other videos that go way deeper than I'm willing to go in this particular series. Anyway, thanks for hanging out to the end. If you enjoyed this information, and you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and most definitely feel free to share. And definitely, if you're not sure what's going on with what I'm doing here, go check Magical Mystery Church. Laura over there has been doing some really good work. That's kind of how I picked up on this constant Cumby. Well, that is how I picked up on this constant Cumby, a planned deception thing. Laura's doing some really good work over there. I'm trying to provide some supplementary information to help fill in the things that Constance couldn't cover as she's drawing the spider web between how the esoteric got into the Americanized church and its various effects that we're feeling today. Everybody wants to